Snowmobiling is a very important part of the winter economy in West Yellowstone. It certainly is not the only part of our economy, but for a long time it was the vast majority of our economy. You know, with the changes in Yellowstone winter use, that has changed somewhat, so that it doesn't perhaps have quite the same lion's share that it had at one time. Nevertheless, it is still a very important part of our winter economy. But we do not want it to be at the exclusion of any other part of our winter economy. We truly believe that there is no reason why, with the millions of acres of land that is available in the National Forest land, with the access to Yellowstone on the roadways, that we cannot all be accommodated. Every type of activity you want to do should be able to be accommodated. Snowmobiling is a terrific experience here, not only in Yellowstone National Park, where you have a tour guide with you to teach you a lot about the geology of the area and the human history of the area, but as well we have wonderful snowmobile trails outside of Yellowstone National Park. West Yellowstone grooms just under 200 miles of trails, and then those all interconnect with a wide variety of trails in Idaho. We really sort of see ourselves with Island Park, Idaho, and West Yellowstone as sort of being one long corridor of great snowmobiling, wonderful backcountry snowmobiling. And so people really like to come here, and whether it's with family and maybe doing more trail riding, or whether it's the guys who want to do a little bit more aggressive riding. So we have a wide variety of experience.
I'm out here in West Yellowstone, and I'm outside Yellowstone Tour and Travel, who is hosting Snow Trails TV this week. Here's the rental sled they have, brand new Arctic Cat T660s. We're going through the National Park tomorrow on the snowmobile tour, and it ought to be a ton of fun. We're down here now waiting for the sleds to come back in from their day and talk to them about what they saw in West Yellowstone on snowmobiles.
And we had a wonderful time today. We went to Old Faithful. We saw bison, elk, and swans. I've never ridden a snowmobile until today, so it was a wonderful experience. I think I would do it again.
I have never in all of my life seen the beauty that I saw there today.
Have you ever snowmobiled before?
No! No! But I will again.
So you'd recommend it to somebody who's never done it, looking for some good outdoors?
I certainly would. And I think it's a geriatric sport. I really do. Because there's so many things, you know, we don't want to go skiing. We can't go snowboarding comfortably, but this is just wonderful.
Hi, I'm Video Mike, and we're here in West Yellowstone, Montana with Snow Trails TV. I've been here before, but just riding out in the backcountry. This time we're going to go through the national park and do the snowmobile tour that we've all heard about. A lot of controversy going on. They've been trying to shut it down, but snowmobiling in West Yellowstone is open. I'm here with Sarah, who's going to be our guide today. Sarah, what do you like about being a guide there at West Yellowstone Park?
Well, first of all, I'm a big fan of the park, so I love going in every day. Good chance to see wildlife. And about being a guide, you meet people from all over the country, all over the nation, and it's just great to share their enthusiasm about the park.
It must be really fun too, just showing them all the cool things that are happening and being part of that.
Yeah, it's
part of that
great.
sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're going to get on the trails here in West Yellowstone, Montana, and tell your friends that Yellowstone Park is coming up next.
This trip is about the wonders of Yellowstone in the winter. It generated memories to last a lifetime. We'll see trumpeter swans, bald eagles, elk and bison. Mystic geysers and bubbling cauldrons are magnificent treasures we are going to share with you. For those that do not snowmobile or are cold weather challenged, there are snow coaches that will take groups on a guided tour through the park.
We have three cats in Yellowstone. We have bobcat, Canadian lynx, and then mountain
The trips on snowmobile into the park are all guided snowmobile trips. You have to use the latest technology four-stroke snowmobiles available, which are provided for use. You do not need to bring your trail sled all the way out west to enjoy sledding in the park or even own a snowmobile. We found very strict procedures for traveling in the park. The speed limit is 35 miles an hour max, and the sleds won't go any faster than that. The guides are a great benefit because as one stops along the way, the trained guides know where to stop for the interesting sights, and they have fascinating facts and stories along the way.
Now, Sarah, you're out here all the time and seeing lots of wildlife. Is this pretty typical to see this many buffalo?
Yeah, it kind of depends every day where the buffalo are, how close to the road they are. You can see herds up to a couple hundred, or you can see maybe one buffalo a day. It just kind of depends. But yeah, this is typical, especially close to Old Faithful.
Wow, this is just absolutely amazing out here in the Yellowstone Park. You know, they've got the guided tours that you've got to go on. You got to have a guide, which is good because the guides will tell you what's going on and stop you when the things very cool like the buffalo are here to enjoy.
Welcome here to Old Faithful, probably the world's most famous geyser. Old Faithful is not the largest geyser in Yellowstone, nor is it the most predictable, nor the most frequent. But it's the only big geyser that has all three of those characteristics in combination. It's tall, it almost always goes over 100 feet, even as high as 180 feet. It erupts very frequently. The average is about every 92 minutes, give or take 10 minutes, but that's the average. And it's very predictable to the point where we can predict it within a 20-minute period most of the time. It's the only geyser with all of those characteristics in combination so as to guarantee visitors a show when they do come here to Yellowstone.
A typical tour in Yellowstone, our most popular tour, is to Old Faithful. And on the Old Faithful tour, we depart from West Yellowstone and make our way in along the Madison River to Madison Junction. And along the Madison River is great wildlife viewing. We see buffalo, elk, you can even have a chance to see bobcat, sometimes wolves, coyotes, bald eagles. It's just stunning wildlife in the wintertime. At Madison Junction, there's a warming hut where people can relax and have a hot chocolate and restroom break. And then from there, we usually make our way to the Old Faithful Geyser Basin, which is the highlight of the trip, is seeing Old Faithful. And then usually we'll have lunch there at the Old Faithful. At the Snow Lodge, there's a restaurant and a grill. And after lunch, we usually take a leisurely trip back towards West Yellowstone, and on the way back we stop at some of the multiple geyser basins and just see the wonders that Yellowstone has to offer. This pool, Silex Spring, this pool has erupted before. The blue color comes from different minerals in the water. And the nickname for this pool's Hot Dog Pool. There was an occasion when there was a black lab who got away from an owner down in the parking lot, comes running up the boardwalk. First water that the dog saw, in he goes, because it's a lab. I mean, that's what they do. Owner jumps in after the lab to try to save him. Needless to say, neither one of them survived. Really? Yeah, and so it's hot enough to kill, and this one has. Clepsydra geyser here is one of the most regular geysers in the park. In other words, it goes about 99.99% of the time. It's always going. But Clepsydra actually means clock, and so this geyser used to be on a 3-minute interval. And then I think it was maybe in the 70s there was a major earthquake that changed it, and ever since then it's been going all the time.
No, we had a good day. We've seen some buffalo up close, some birds. Haven't seen any elk yet, but this day's not over yet. And it's nice, it's comfortable, could be a lot colder, so it's been a real enjoyable day. I'm a snowmobiler, I like to snowmobile, but I mean anybody could come in here, and family, kids, anything, and really enjoy a good time and have a good day in here. This is Warren Howell, and you're watching Snow Trails TV.
There's a little bit more of the scenic beauty and wonder that could be had snowmobiling through the park in the wintertime. We're here at Firehole Falls. Mother Nature at its finest.
As we heard from some of the other visitors earlier, whether you're young or old, this could be an excellent time to try your first snowmobile experience. No special talents are needed. Our outfitter for this trip has everything we needed, including the snowmobile clothing and helmets as needed. A family could come from Arizona and take a first-time snowmobile trip with no experience. While the number of daily guided snowmobiles allowed in the park is regulated to just over 700, we heard that limit is very rarely, if ever, met on a major holiday. There is never too much traffic, and the animals did not seem to be bothered by us at all. In fact, the animals do what they do in the summer when there are thousands of vehicles a day in the park. Stand around and be admired by us spectators and admirers of nature.
We've just finished up our first of 2 days traveling through Yellowstone National Park. We'll be back again tomorrow, but for you that's going to be next week on Snow Trails TV. Then we've got 2 more days of exploring the backcountry snowmobiling out in West Yellowstone. So be sure to join us for more great adventures here on Snow Trails TV. Video Mike saying we hope to see you out on the trails.